Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Diamondale, I am here to do a presentation on marketing and politics. This is a very important topic in terms of politics of today, because we want to make sure people are using marketing as a very important tool, other than what has been happening in the past, where there have been too many of name calling. So we're trying to run away from such kind of politics by embracing marketing as a main theme in politics. Marketing and politics, which is good and which is bad. If politics is a dirty business, the marketing of politics is the dirty bit of the dirty business. So in this case, what I'm trying to do is trying to impart or disseminate information so that all the delegates who are here listening should understand and embrace marketing and use it as a marketing tool to embrace their political agendas. My outline is, we're going to define marketing and we're going to relate it to politics. And then we have USP, which is a unique selling proportion. And then we are also going to look at positioning, and then repositioning and depositioning, and then the summary. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to waste much of your time. I'll just go straight and start defining what marketing is. Marketing is a management process of identifying, anticipating, and satisfying consumer needs and wants more effectively than a competitor. That's the definition of marketing, but how can we relate it to politics? When we look at consumer in the definition, it refers to people who buy goods and services. But in case of politics, we are changing the word consumer, we substitute it by the word voting. So marketing is a management process of identifying and anticipating voters' needs and wants more effectively than a competitor. We should realize, or we should remember, that all these politics that we are doing is not a standalone. There are other people who try to compete with each other. So in the situation where we want to be unique, it's very important to embrace marketing in every activity of the politics. So we are going to look at USP. What is USP? This is a unique selling proportion. This is an element that each and every competitor, each and every person who is standing for elections, who is trying to bid for a political position, has to understand. A USP set a candidate apart from the others. We are going to look at some few examples. Let's look at 2008 elections. We had two competitors, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. When we look at Hillary Clinton, what did we learn from Hillary Clinton by using the USP? Hillary was using experience. That's the word which became common to all the people who were following Hillary. How did she attach experience to herself? I would call that as her brand name in elections, where she wanted everything she's doing is attached to a word experience. But how did we know how the experience she had? She took experience from being the first lady for the 8 years when the husband was in office as a president. To her, she took it as an advantage and used it as experience. And at the same time, she's been a senator for some time. So the two combination makes her to choose the word experience. and went along with it. And then if we look at Obama used the word change. This word change was like, it's a brand name for Obama in those elections, 2008. And every time, whatever Obama was doing was attached to the word change. And that's what we are calling USP. So for this, politicians should be aware of how to distinguish yourself from another competitor. If I can take you back in 1991, where we had elections in Zambia, there was also the USP which was used by a MMD, we are calling Movement for Multi-Party Democracy. That political party used a USP which they called the hour. That was planted into voters' side that every time people are on campaign, they are using the word the hour, which became a song in voters' minds. So this is very important to understand and identify the USP. But how do you identify the USP? This is the main job that you have to work on. You have to do a market research to understand the voters' mood, the voters' behavior before you design your USP. Because that is what will make you move along with the voters. If you understand them, you know their mood at that particular time. If we look back to Obama, we found when he found this change, everybody was moving at the same pace with Obama. Whatever he says was attaching the word change. But the most important thing is, when you create this word, this sets you apart from the other competitor. Now, how important is this USP? This USP is very important when it comes to positioning. When you start positioning yourself as a candidate, first of all, I would like to look at what is positioning. Positioning is a process of sticking or putting your word, let's say your SP, into your voters' mind, such that everywhere, wherever they go, they are able to remember change, or they are able to remember the hour, they are able to remember experience. And this is why we are calling it USP, because it has to be unique. And to enforce the positioning, this is what we should understand as politicians, as delegates who are trying to look for political positions. One, you have to attach positioning to specific policy. You have to have policies that should support your USP. For example, if you have a vision, that vision must have specific benefits. I want to go and change Washington. I want to have a different Washington when I get elected into power. That's a vision. But you have to attach specific benefits to that. How are you going to change a Washington? And then at the same time, you have to look at, there must be a visionary leadership. When you're trying to go and change Washington, or you are trying to create a change in Washington, what do you need to do? You have to look at leadership. Also has to move with you. When you put policies together, these policies must be credible, must have credible evidence. For example, you say, as soon as I get into Washington, become the president, I'm going to call all the military back to the United States. We are going to cancel the war. There will be no more war. You are attaching your planning, your vision to the way you want it to be when you get to Washington. These are the things that we must understand. Positioning, and unique USP. Very important in politics. Then we can also look at what we call repositioning. Repositioning is a situation where you see the mood of the voters. Let us go back to Hillary Clinton. When she saw the mood of voters started moving towards Obama because of the word change, she started redefining her ways of doing things. From experience, she started touching change. When she talks about experience, then she said, we want to go and bring change in Washington. So she started using change vis-a-vis experience. But it came too late, because at the time she realized she should attach change to her vision. Already Obama had already gained momentum and no one to bring him back. So in that case, when you're trying to reposition, you have to match time, because you have to understand time in which you are able to change, you are able to reposition yourself so that you keep matching with the competitor, because at times things are tough out there. If we look at repositioning, for example of George Bush in 2000, and also Al Gore, when Al Gore was competing with George Bush, Al Gore had no USP whatsoever. All she was doing is she was working on the experience and the exposure he had when he was a vice president of this country. He never thought of even coming up with USP for himself. And at the end of the day, he lost elections. But he looked at the election, the way he lost it, he wanted to reposition himself. And he decided to go and work on global warming. And he received an award for global warming. That is good repositioning. Okay. We can also look at repositioning yourself. In any campaign, in any politics, you are able to reposition yourself and gain back some kind of momentum. But we have to realize, or we have to understand, that it must be within a reasonable time. It's too late, then you'll never catch up with your competitor. You see, the importance of USP is it improves the position and marketability of your ideas. The uniqueness is ideally set you apart from your other competitors. Your more logical choices will be available. It persuades other people to vote for you. That's the importance of USP. Proportion is a proposal or offer suggested for acceptance. That's proportion. So as we get back to repositioning, the way I'm looking at what happened to Al Gore when he lost elections, he competed with George Bush in 2000. After he lost, he went back to reposition himself and came back with the global warming. So he bounced back in a different form. That is repositioning. So even you as delegates, in case you lose, you don't want to start using bad language, you don't want to start name calling. All you need to understand is you just to back out, change your strategy of moving on, so that you stop, we stop this name calling, backbiting, and shouting, throwing dirty linen in public. So we just have to understand the importance of marketing, USP, and positioning. Again, we can look at the positioning, changing the identity of your idea or of your USP. You can also change it. It's never late, but it must not be too late when you're trying to change your USP in terms of elections. It's very important to know certain words that you don't want to associate with when you are doing your campaign. One of the words that you should understand is not a good word is like flip-flop. Don't associate yourself to flip-flopping in politics. Be consistent in whatever you are doing, whatever the message you are delivering to your voters. You have to be consistent and persistent. No flip-flopping. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope my message has reached home, and it will be a very important thing to take or embrace marketing in this politics, so that we run away from the politics of name calling. We just have to embrace good things. Remember, when turning back, if you did something wrong, for example, what is happening now in these politics, you've heard from Republicans, when they are competing each other, they are calling each other name, but how do you turn around and to embrace somebody you already insulted? It's uncalled for. So let's just understand the importance of marketing, how to identify and satisfy the voters' needs and wants. Then we will be the better politicians with a better marketing background. Thank you. But if you want to know us better and to know more detailed information on marketing in politics, don't hesitate to call 240-370-6496 or go to www.diamondalefoundation.org or check us info 2930. That's our YouTube channel. Thank you very much.